There is a woman in a No Frills parking lot in Scarborough, Ontario, sitting in her car with a grocery receipt in her hand. She spent $94. She bought 14 items. She did not buy meat. She did not buy produce. She bought the basics: cereal, pasta, canned tomatoes, oat milk, chips, a few cleaning products. She posts the receipt on Reddit. Within 6 hours, it has 4,000 upvotes and 300 comments. Most of them say the same thing. Same at my No Frills, same at mine in Calgary, same in Halifax. One comment near the top has been upvoted more than anything else on the thread. I've started doing half my shop at Dollarama. It's not even close on certain things. That comment is not an accident. It is not one person's opinion. It is the leading edge of a shift that is showing up in the financial results of two companies simultaneously, one growing, one defending, and that most Canadian grocery shoppers have not yet fully mapped out for themselves. This is that map. No Frills was founded in Toronto in 1978. The concept was straightforward. Strip out every cost that wasn't essential. No carpet, no fancy displays, no bags, no frills. Pass the savings to the customer. For a generation of Canadians, particularly lower income families, students, and anyone who needed to make a grocery budget stretch, No Frills was the answer. The yellow banner and the "won't be beat" slogan became as familiar as any brand in Canadian retail. The problem is that No Frills is owned by Loblaw Companies Limited. Loblaw, the same company that participated in a 14-year industry-wide scheme to fix the price of packaged bread. The scheme ran from 2001 to 2015. The plaintiffs alleged that at least $1.50 was artificially added to the price of a loaf. In May 2025, an Ontario judge approved a $500 million settlement, the largest antitrust settlement in Canadian legal history. Galen Weston, Loblaw's chairman, said the behavior should never have happened. He said this while collecting annual compensation that peaked at $8.9 million. 3.84 million Canadians registered for the $25 gift card Loblaw issued when the scandal first broke in 2017. Each of those 3.84 million people had been paying artificially inflated prices for bread at a store that told them it would not be beaten. When Canadians found that out, something shifted, not immediately, not all at once, but gradually, in the way that trust erodes when you discover the person who told you they had your best interest at heart was also quietly picking your pocket. The Reddit thread started, the boycott Facebook groups, the comment sections. Used to be No Frills, but found Food Basics and Fresh Co. are cheaper and better, one shopper told Narcity. Dollarama for anything except meat, produce, and dairy, said another. These are not isolated opinions. A survey of more than 200 Canadian shoppers conducted in late 2025 found that No Frills, while still named most often as the cheapest discount grocer in Canada, was seeing its reputation quietly contested, with Dollarama named unprompted by multiple respondents specifically for pantry staples. Now here is where the data gets specific, because this story is not as simple as Dollarama is cheaper than No Frills. It is more nuanced than that, and the nuance is actually more useful to you than the blanket claim. A detailed comparison of 88 food products across Dollarama, No Frills, Walmart, and Food Basics found that Dollarama was cheaper on 36 of 88 items, roughly 41%. That means on the majority of products, No Frills or another grocer wins on price. Dollarama does not beat No Frills across the board. Nobody who has actually done the math is claiming that. But that 41% is not random. It clusters in specific categories, and those categories are exactly the ones that make up the core of a Canadian pantry budget. Ruffles All Dress Chips. Dollarama, $2.75. Real Canadian Superstore, $4.48. Walmart, $4.47. That is almost a $2 difference on a single snack item. Oat milk, Dollarama, $2.50. Superstore, $3.49. Walmart, $4.47, $1 cheaper at minimum. Pasta, canned goods, fruit snacks, cereal, packaged cookies. On these items, the non-perishables that make up the backbone of most grocery lists, Dollarama consistently comes in under the major chains including No Frills. One mystery shopper at a real Canadian superstore, also owned by Loblaw, began leaving handwritten notes under products on the shelf, letting other customers know the same item was cheaper at Dollarama. Staff removed the notes. The shopper returned. This kept happening. It went viral. It became a small act of consumer resistance inside a Loblaw store conducted by someone who had done the math and decided other people deserved to know. The deeper story here is not just price, it is what Dollarama is becoming. Founded in 1992 by Larry Rossi in Matane, Quebec, Dollarama was originally exactly what the name suggested, a dollar store. Everything a dollar. No exceptions. That simplicity was the brand. Over the past decade, as Canadian food prices climbed and the company's understanding of its own customers deepened, Dollarama quietly expanded its food section. Bread, cereal, rice, pasta, canned tomatoes, oat milk, chips, crackers, cooking oil, items that belong on a grocery list, sold at prices that belong in a dollar store. The financial results of this shift are not subtle. In fiscal 2025, Dollarama reported sales of $6.41 billion, a 9.3% increase over the previous year. Comparable store sales grew 4.6% on top of 12.8% growth the year before that. The company opened 65 net new stores, bringing its total to 1,616 locations across Canada. It has announced plans to reach 2,200 stores by 2034, up from a previous target of 2,000 stores by 2031. It is building a new distribution center in Calgary for $46.7 million to service Western Canada. Dollarama's CEO, Neil Rossi, told analysts that the company's performance demonstrates its enduring relevance for consumers from coast to coast. Enduring relevance, that is a precise phrase. It means people keep coming back, not because they have no choice, but because the value proposition keeps delivering. No Frills, meanwhile, is navigating a different set of pressures. In June 2024, Loblaw announced that No Frills was ending its multi-buy promotions, the buy two for $5 style deals that many budget shoppers had built their grocery strategy around. The company's explanation was that customers had told them they didn't want to buy more to save. That may be true. It is also true that eliminating multi-buy deals simplifies operations, reduces the appearance of promotional pricing, and makes individual unit prices harder to compare against competitors. Whichever motivation you believe, the result for shoppers is fewer tools for maximizing a grocery budget. At roughly the same time, Loblaw announced it was piloting a new ultra-discount format called no-name stores, bare-bones locations designed to undercut even No Frills on price by up to 20%. The irony is architectural. The company that owns No Frills has concluded that No Frills is not cheap enough, so it is building something cheaper than No Frills to compete with the alternatives that have been eating into No Frills' reputation as the lowest price option in Canadian grocery. That is not a sign of confidence. That is a company responding to a market that has been quietly drifting. So what does this mean for how you actually shop? The Canadians who have figured this out are not abandoning No Frills entirely, they are splitting the trip. They go to Dollarama first for the non-perishables, the pasta, the cereal, the canned goods, the snacks, the cleaning supplies, the oat milk. Then they go to No Frills or Food Basics or Freshco for the produce, the meat, the dairy, the fresh items Dollarama does not carry. The total bill across both stops is consistently lower than a single full shop at No Frills. One shopper in a Narcity survey put it plainly, you have to shop at more than one store to get everything at decent prices. That is not a complaint. That is a strategy. And it is the strategy that the data supports. There is one more thing worth saying about No Frills specifically, beyond the price comparison. No Frills markets itself to the Canadians who can least afford to be misled. Its entire identity is built on the promise that it will not beat you, that the yellow banner and the stripped-down shelves and the won't be beat slogan are a genuine commitment to the shopper who is counting every dollar. That promise is powerful. It creates loyalty that persists even when the math suggests alternatives might be cheaper on certain items. But loyalty built on a promise requires the promise to be kept. When the parent company of No Frills is the same company that fixed the price of bread for 14 years, the basic staple that the most price-sensitive shoppers buy most often, the promise becomes harder to believe. Not impossible to believe, but harder. And when a store that was never designed to compete with grocers quietly starts winning on 41% of the pantry items that Canadian families buy every week, the question is not whether the shift is happening. The question is whether you have started yet. The woman in the Scarborough parking lot with a $94 receipt has 14 items, $94. She is back 2 weeks later. This time she stops at Dollarama first. Her receipt at No Frills is $61.